Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Just Plain Living. I'm John Gray.
Good morning. I'm Peggy Burton.
And I'm Jim Fuller.
And you got a dog in the bag, I know.
Dog in the bag.
And you won't let it out.
She is
That's a
sleeping.
country song right there. Got
Yeah.
a dog in the bag and I won't let it out.
That's right.
It's amazing where they come
And
from.
in country songs, you might be referring to your wife.
Right.
You know.
Or she might be referring
She
to
might-
her husband.
She might be referring to her husband.
We
Took a
can't
dog
say
and
too
left
much
home.
about those girls
Right.
because
That's right.
they finally have proven that they are in charge.
Yeah. I don't know the
Don't
name
you
of this
forget
song,
it.
but our friend Tyke Willis used to sing this song all the time, and one of the lines in it was, "I got the hungries for your love, and I'm waiting in your welfare line."
It's hysterical.
But it's honestly a country song.
Yeah, that's a great line.
Waiting
It's a
in
great
welfare
line.
line.
We had a good country show this weekend,
we
Peggy.
did.
42nd year.
I want to
It was
compliment
outstanding.
Miss Samantha Terrell Waters. She did a great job. I can just sit back in a chair and enjoy the show. And I did.
Yes,
I
you did. Yes, you did.
And my
Peggy
dog,
is executive producer, but Samantha and her friends are
our
Jacqueline
directors
Sullinger and Martha
Brooke
Powers
Hood.
Hood
Well,
and
she's
Sullinger Painter
Yeah.
are the three that have the triumvirate that it's taken to do Peggy's show.
three people. I can
Took
see
at
that
least three
happening.
people.
Yeah. I can see that happen.
There's a lot
Well,
of
Peggy had
a lot of
help.
people. There's a lot of people
Yeah.
that helped.
You know, Melissa Shuran was Peggy's right hand. Her girl Friday for
And don't forget Lynn
years and years.
Seaborn. He is a born comedian,
Lynn
and he has
Seaborn.
a real knack for doing commercials
Right.
and writing commercials.
Yeah.
So
So-
there's a million people up there that
Sure there is.
help, and that's
Mike Sneed and all of them. You know, it just it's an incredible show, and if you came to the show, we were happy. It's amazing if you're a person who loves live stage, the difference in doing a show in front of half an audience and a full house.
right. Because last year
And
was half an hour.
Last year was half an
Because of the
audience. People
pandemic.
spaced around and all that. And this year they were in there,
Yeah.
and they were happy to be there, and everybody was excited, and the audiences were involved with the show, and you know, when they're in it, it just gives you that much
of
more to
course,
feed
yeah.
off of.
Of course.
And it was a good show. We had some great entertainers. And what was, to me, was obvious, although it's a family show and it's like going to a family reunion, because a lot of the people in the show have been doing it for years and years and years, and the mamas used to be little girls this tall, and now they're little girls that tall are involved. But we had I'd say about 30%
New people.
new people, new acts, new
And-
folks coming in from Shelbyville and Swanee and Winchester and
Hoodoo.
wherever, and being
There is a place called
being
Hoodoo.
involved with
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah.
You know, and some good talent, some really good talent.
And I always like to say that because of South Jackson Goes Country and other shows similar, that's why we have a performing arts center and a museum open here in Tullahoma with the help of the city and
Sure.
a lot of people that sponsor. And it's not just about putting a show on the stage, it's about having culture
Education.
and education for your community. And I think it validates us as a great place to live.
Yes, and I was talking to Mayor Noes, who's in the audience today, and we'll be up to talk with him in a little bit about the Peggy has wanted to nurture the songwriters. And so for the past several years, I don't know, Peggy, probably 5-6 years at least,
We've had
there's been
yeah.
a songwriter segment each
And it
day of the
grows.
show.
It's grown, right.
And so Randy Fincham, who's been on this show, and Randy showed up about, I don't know, 4 years ago, maybe 3 years
Just
ago.
last year. I think it was his first
Just last year was his first year, and he does a show up on the mountain at the Smokehouse and has a radio show, and is a writer, and his father-in-law had some hit songs in Nashville, and he's become invested in it, and he's just a great guy.
Well, I think that in our community and in a performing arts center, you need to always accelerate the creative part of theater.
Sure.
And that's what songwriting is. It's the creators. And I'm so pleased that they wrote a song. It was my idea to hire Randy and have him come in and do a workshop. And
Right.
I'm really proud of what came
Well,
out of
the song "Small Town Calling" is, and I've written a bunch of them, and I've listened to them my whole life. It is bad to the bone.
Mm-hmm.
It is an outstanding song, and the way the cast performs it, with about 4 or 5 of the writers who wrote it, not all of them, and then a choir comes in behind them, and the melody, the music is outstanding. The beat of that song, it is one of the most impressive
I think we're
things.
gonna show it
Look,
today.
I mean, it's getting me.
I hope we're going to show it
My-
today. You and I
My
talked
hair
about showing
standing
it
up.
last
Yeah,
week.
yeah, we'll show it today.
screwed up
But I
and
was
said
talking
we
to
were
Mayor
showing it.
Noes. You know, that song needs to be adopted by the city of Tullahoma as its official song, and go up on the website to where people looking from California. You know, a lot of people are buying real estate in the Middle Tennessee area because it's one of the hottest spots in the country to buy real estate.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
And they're buying it from Washington State, California, all over this country. People, it's amazing how much out of state ownership.
You know, that
we
is
have.
pretty amazing too. You know, and John and I haven't announced this yet, but we're having to move from where we
Yes,
currently have
yes.
been for 20 years. And we were talking to realtors yesterday, and the realtor we were specifically talking to had 3 clients that were from California.
I know it is
You know,
amazing. Yeah.
And she really is fairly new to the real estate business.
Buying
And,
property
I
and
get a-
buying property.
I
in
get letters
Tullahoma,
every
yeah.
day, people
Yeah.
wanting to give me money for my property.
Mm-hmm.
And they know I'm old, for one thing. Okay, she's got
You're not old, Peggy.
she's got to sell out, but
You'd never be
they're
old.
wrong. I'm not selling.
You're like the Energizer Bunny. You just keep getting stronger.
Well, you're very kind.
But the thing about it is, this song out on the Tullahoma website shows exactly what you're saying.
It is. It does.
You
right.
move here, and your children are not only going to be involved in one of the top 5 schools in the state, and another virtual school we've
Right.
started this year. You worried about wearing a mask? You don't want a mask mandate? Guess what? We've got a full virtual school that your children can go to and take advantage of the same school system we have virtually.
Yeah.
I know,
It's incredible what
we do
goes
have
on here,
a great
but it
town.
shows them what the arts offer. Because people want their children to be educated properly, but then they want to make sure they get the cultural side of life.
Yes.
And we've got South Jackson Civic Center, we've got the Fine Arts
Arts
Center,
and we've got the
a
hands-on
science center out here
and we've
built
got
by Aero Arnold Center,
Parks and Recreation.
Aerospace Engineers.
I don't think anybody calls it Aero anymore, do they?
Tayro, out Tayro.
Altero, yeah.
Ray, you remember when they used to go out Tayro to work, don't you? But, you know, we had a great weekend, and hey, Thursday night, right here.
Football.
Let's see, where is it? Which side's it on? Not that side, that side. There's that T right up there. See that T? Tullahoma High School football starts.
And this looks like a good year for the Tullahoma Wildcats, absolutely.
I think it's gonna be a
returning a
great
lot of
year.
the
A lot of
players,
the players,
from,
a lot of the
from
players.
last year where they went undefeated,
Undefeated.
During the regular season. So
And we're going to be going to Shelbyville, and that'll be Thursday night. Ball game starts at 7 o'clock. And then we're going to have 6 away games this year. We will play Shelbyville and Coffee County away. We're not playing Winchester at all. That's why we had the Jamboree this past weekend. Then the rest of our away games are either in or above Nashville. One of them's almost on the Kentucky line. So
That's
the
a
John
long
Olive
way.
Fifth Quarter Show, which will be played every Saturday, replayed Saturday night and Sunday afternoon, is going to be a very important show this year because a lot of those fans are going to go to Nashville,
Right,
to some of the
exactly.
places
They're gonna
that
wanna
we
watch
go
it. Mm-hmm.
because some of them aren't safe.
right,
And then they're not going to travel all the way to Kentucky
right,
to watch a football game
right.
when they can see it Saturday morning live on the John Olive Fifth Quarter Show.
Right.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Coach Olive will be, and John, who actually goes to the games, will not be getting a lot of sleep prior to
No,
that show
not
this
those
year.
nights. Not
yeah,
those nights.
yeah.
And Coach more than me, because he reviews film, because the next day he has to swap film with the next team that we're going to play. They have to swap game film with each other to plan how to defend and offensively and all that. So that usually he's up sometimes half or 3/4 of the night doing that, and then he comes in here and does the show. Then he's the athletic director. So he's got other activities going on Saturday. By Sunday,
I'm wondering if the band's going to be allowed to travel this year.
Yeah, I think they will.
I hope so.
But probably not as much as they have in the past. But right now they're planning on traveling.
Because we have a first-class high school band.
Oh, heavens, yes. When we went to Stratford several years ago, when we were going to Nashville, Pearl-Cohn and Hillsborough and some of those other schools up there, Stratford said, you don't need to bring your band up here. It's not safe.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No, I mean, it was in a neighborhood. Stratford's in a really, really bad neighborhood. And they said, don't bring your band because it's not safe. It's not safe.
That is really sad, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's the way cities are.
Very sad.
John, if I could mention one thing, congratulations to my son-in-law, Dr. Greg English, who is the director of the new Tullahoma Virtual Academy, which opened last week. And I emphasize Dr. Greg English.
I know, I'm so proud of him.
He gets no respect around his own house, but that he is Dr. English. None.
They don't care.
Absolutely none. Yeah, right.
That's Daddy.
Right. And I was there last week for the ribbon cutting, and it brought back old memories. The academy is located over in the old West Junior High School. Used to be old West Junior High School. And, I'm thinking, I can't believe that I'm standing here witnessing this event when I went to junior high school there, But it's really an exciting thing for Tullahoma.
Oh, it is. It's wonderful.
Tullahoma, yeah.
It's wonderful.
I'm really proud of him. And not only that, he's a fabulous musician.
Yeah.
I have to throw in music all the time.
Singer and player.
And now that Greg has moved up in the world,
Does he speak to you?
Yeah, he actually does. But I went home the night before that event, which would have been Tuesday night, and Greg is at my house, and he and my wife have all these clothes of mine laid out across the bed in my bedroom.
Are they taking you out of the house?
So they were picking out something for Greg, mine for Greg to wear to that event.
So he would be classy enough.
So I think I'm kind of proud of that, but I don't know.
He's a fabulous young man.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is, and a fabulous family.
Yeah.
And Abigail is absolutely an outstanding
She
young
leaves
lady.
for Belmont, I think.
And she's going to Belmont, and she will do well there. And then you got Izzy coming up, that's
dancer.
doing just as
does
just as
wonderful
great. She
things.
was Junior Miss Tullahoma last year.
Right.
Yes, she was.
So,
And there's the little man. Is he playing?
He's 9, and he says that he says that he's smarter than either one of the girls. So I don't know. We'll see, but.
if he's saying it, he's having to prove. He's going to have to prove it.
He's going to have to
Because they're pretty sharp.
Yeah, he's got some big shoes to fill there.
Does.
Yeah.
And we're going to end this segment right here and take a quick commercial break. And told you Ray Noas, our mayor of Tullahoma, was in the audience, and he'll be back with us when we come back, and we'll find out what's happening around Tullahoma and what great things are to be expected. We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
I had a knee replacement, so they've got me in life care, which I'm very, very thankful for. I couldn't garden, I couldn't do my flower beds, I can't chase my little dogs. I have been in several therapy sessions for knees and back, and that's the best therapist I believe I've ever been to. It's tremendous because I'm able to walk again, but if it wasn't for the care, I wouldn't be where I am.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
The individuals with dementia, those with Parkinson's, those that have maybe mobility issues, need caregivers. Well, those caregivers are 24 hours a day at home, and they never get a rest. And if they have to go to work, they're kind of out of luck. So that's why Trinity came into existence 25 years ago, to allow the caregivers to have a safe center where they could put their loved ones, know they would be well cared for, stimulated, fed good nutritious meals, have activities to their level, and then the caregiver can stop by and pick them up and go on home and have some continuity into their life.
Your voice matters. Think Tullahoma 2040 is the Board of Mayor and Aldermen and the Planning Commission's 20-year growth plan. Public input is critical to the success of this comprehensive plan. Please complete the community survey at tullahomatn.gov, and you can make an impact on the future of Tullahoma by sharing your ideas. We are also inviting you to a series of public meetings starting August 23rd and running through August 26th. Go to tullahomatn.gov for the full schedule and details. Again, you can get the full details and schedules at tullahomatn.gov.
The Bookshelf in Tullahoma is the fundraising arm of the Coffee County Literacy Council. Since 1988, the Literacy Council's goal and purpose has been to support and promote adult basic education in Coffee County. We enable individuals to complete their high school equivalency exam, which helps them get better jobs or continue into higher education. The Bookshelf at 114 Southwest Atlantic Street in Tullahoma is where we sell used books, which are donated to us by the community. Come see us, bring your books to donate, and join us as you find every genre of books that you can imagine.
Suicide prevention starts with everyday heroes like you. Join us on September 18th at Manchester Rotary Park at 9 a.m. as we walk to fight suicide and raise awareness about mental health. Be a part of the movement turning hope into action and create a culture that's smart about mental health. Funds raised at the walk will benefit the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Sign up at afsp.org/Coffee County.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm always glad when this guy shows up because he's been a friend of mine and I've been a supporter of his for a long time, Mayor Ray Noaes. Thanks for being here, my friend.
Thank you, John. It's great to be here with you.
How's everything going in the Tullahoma world?
I think Tullahoma is doing very well. Doing very well.
Can you, I know we've got a whole lot of stuff going on. The first thing I want to discuss with you is, because it's coming up next week, I believe, the 2040 meetings. That says, help plan your city. And those went out to everybody, every mailbox in town.
That is correct. These postcards went out to every mailbox in town, and there is a barcode on there. It's not a barcode, but it's a code that you can scan with your phone, and you can take the survey on your phone by scanning this little clip right here. Mm-hmm. So I hope you got that, and I hope you've taken the survey.
I haven't done it, but I'll do it today.
That's
Can I keep that?
Well, I can leave this with you, but I wanted to remind people that next week we'll be having stakeholder meetings in town with our consultants that will be in town. Then we'll be having quad meetings, and that will be in every quad in the city, and those quads being where our elementary schools are located. The first one on Monday night will be at Robert E. Lee School. Mm-hmm. The second one will be at East Middle. That'll be on Tuesday evening.
Yes, sir.
And then on the next night, Wednesday evening, will be at Farah. and then the final one will be at Bel Air on Thursday evening. So everyone will have an opportunity to come and make inputs. This is a community-wide event. Everyone is invited, and in view of the one that at Robert E. Lee next week, we will be postponing our normally scheduled Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting so that we can give all of the board members who are in that quad an opportunity to participate fully at Robert E. Lee that evening. So our regular board meeting will be on the 30th of August.
30th,
yeah.
Okay. And what that means, folks, is you need to go, and if you have something you have a burr under your saddle, there's something that you'd like to see happen in the area where you live, or in town in general, the consultants will be there, and if you want to talk about, we need sidewalks here, we need the ditches deeper here, there's water, whatever you've got going on that you want to see happen. We need some kind of store or something over in our neighborhood to where we don't have to go all the way somewhere we need another playground. We need a basketball court. We need a swing. We need whatever you need, whatever you'd like to see happen. This is the time for you to go, no matter who you are, no matter where you live, no matter your status in life, makes no difference. If you're a citizen of the city of Tullahoma, you have an opportunity to voice your opinion.
That's correct. And, once we collect all this data, we'll get lots of opinions. But we'll have some professionals that are synthesizing these inputs and trying to make the best decisions for the most people in Tullahoma. So it will be a community-based plan. It will not be the city's plan, but every citizen will have an opportunity to participate in this comprehensive Think Tullahoma 2040.
Now, you said before this about the meetings, you said stakeholder meetings. What is a stakeholder meeting?
The stakeholders were groups that the city identified had major interest in the city. There are some people who own more property in Tullahoma than others. They have a bigger stake, if you will.
Developers
and
might
developers
be a stakeholder.
Just is absolutely. So a stakeholder could be many different categories of people, but developers, yes. So,
more skin in the game
well,
than a regular
if you
citizen.
Will. But be assured that just because they are stakeholders don't mean that anything. Yes, they're going to have an audience with the consultants, but you as a citizen you will be a stakeholder as well.
Right. And just because, I would imagine, just because you live in the Robert E. Lee area or the Fair Frog area, if you miss that meeting, you are certainly welcome to go to any of the other meetings.
That is absolutely correct. And even if you do attend another one, and if you want to attend another one, you are welcome there, but we be respectful of those who have not had an opportunity to make their input.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's very well said.
Okay.
Very well said. So I noticed, Mr. Mayor, over where we used to have a mall, we don't have a mall anymore. And there's storefronts being torn out and all kinds of stuff's going on. So will you have any insight on what's happening over there and what we can expect?
Yes, the mall is changing character. Instead of an indoor mall that the traditional mall, it will be more of a storefront mall. That seems to be the preferred type of mall across the country today.
Right.
And we do have, specifically, we do have some changes, obvious the changes that are going on. Some of those can be announced, and
some of them can't.
Some of them can't, because some of them are still in negotiation.
Still pending.
But it has been announced that we are expecting a Marshalls to come where the Hibbett's store is now. Those plans have been that has been publicly announced. Now there are other stores that are being modified. The old Best Buy, that end of the mall is being renovated, and there are some potentials that are being courted, if you will, right now with the developers. And
You mean big lots?
Big lots is what I mean, yes.
Yeah.
But not Best Buy, but big lots.
Yeah.
That's correct. So
That's a good sized space.
good sized space, and some good things are in the works there.
Yeah,
And
good.
the developers are encouraged that can happen. Of course, the Brookside Properties, they're the primary owner of the mall there now, and and Brookside will be a stakeholder.
Right, sure.
Look at that.
Sure. So that's going on, and then on the other side of the street there, I've noticed that there's some construction where one of the chicken places was.
Bojangles is no longer there, but we have a Highway 55 coming to town, and the delays in that building are. There's some concern as to just why those delays are, and it's discouraging to see buildings that get started and renovations get started, and then because you can't get material
right
to complete your remodeling, that goes too slowly. But that is one of the things that's holding that up for Highway 55, and anxious to see that come to town. I understand it's one of the better places to have a traditional 50s style burger place.
Right, and I mean, I think they're going to have a lot of the stainless steel and the neon and all of that stuff. It's supposed to be a really cool looking building.
Right. We've got so many things going on right now with new subdivision developments, with new, we're every Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting, and we're hearing new zoning requirements changing. We're seeing planning commission changes. People are voicing their opinion about things they want to see done in Tullahoma or not done in Tullahoma, and the respective boards, Board of Mayor and Alderman and the Planning Commission, they're listening. They're listening to people.
What's really good about for those of us who went to the opening 2040 meeting is housing. What type of housing do we need in Tullahoma? And that we have professionals that are looking at every area we have and what type of housing we have. And I know some people say, oh, well, I don't want multiple family housing in my area, but that might be exactly what that area needs. And we're having professionals who go all over the country doing this that will be making suggestions that we do need more multifamily properties, because we don't have enough housing for everybody to live in, and we don't have a whole lot of land inside the city.
That's correct. And in that regard, last night at the Planning Commission meeting, we had a variance request came to the board. The request was a variance on the height requirement that we have in the city. For C2, we have a height limitation of 35 feet. Well, that limits it to about 3 stories.
Right.
Okay. We have a developer who has an opportunity to attract a new hotel to come to Tullahoma. They want to build a 4-story hotel. Well, that requires a variance from the ordinance for a height restriction. But in Tullahoma, the only place you can go right now on Jackson Street is up.
Sure.
The cost of land is very expensive on Jackson Street, and so that variance was approved for a 4-story construction on Hoover Lane and just behind Jackson Street.
So remember when you drove through Murfreesboro the first time and looked over there at downtown, and there was this big building standing up over there, about, what is that? Probably 8 stories or more.
Yeah.
10. And you're thinking, in Murfreesboro? But as you look at the property, it comes to a point when that's the only way, like you say, it's the only way you can go, is up.
Well, there's 2 options. You can go up on North Jackson, or you can go south on South Jackson. There is some property on South Jackson that I think will become prime developable property there.
Oh, certainly, certainly. Any way in and out of Tullahoma is going to end up prime.
Correct.
And part of that's due to this man right here, Lane Curley before him, the governments and the boards before him, and the folks that you're working with right now. Tullahoma wouldn't be in the situation it's in if it hadn't had good management up until now.
I concur with that.
And
Lane,
so
very much.
we're very fortunate that we've had good people wanting to serve, because it's service. And oh man, they make some money for, listen, the money they make for doing what they do is not anywhere near what the problems, the phone calls that you take and the irate folks that you talk to and the great people that you get to meet.
True.
You're doing a good job, my friend, and just keep it up.
Thanks, John.
Because we got a lot of things to accomplish.
Very good.
Okay? Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for being here. Mayor Ray Noes. We'll be right back after these messages.
I am tremendously blessed to be living at Parkview and very happy to be part of a loving and caring community.
Best thing you can say is this really a great place to live. That's all there is to it, no doubt about that.
It's your home. You just do what you would if you were at your private home. You know, we love it. It's great.
It's just like having a whole neighborhood around you, and it's fun.
It's just a great place to live.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. He's tough enough to feed the man that gave him a lifetime of nourishment. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. That's right. No employee of the month bonus check here. This guy, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. Good luck finding a gym to train for that. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
Hello, I'm Ray Noes, Mayor of Tullahoma. I want to thank the citizens of Tullahoma who've been following the CDC guidelines for helping prevent the spread of COVID-19. You've been wearing your mask, you've been getting your vaccinations, and I'll tell you, it's working. Today, our positivity rate is less than 5%. That's the lowest it's been since the earliest days of our pandemic. So, now I want to urge each of you to continue to follow these guidelines, and together, let's get this pandemic behind us and get our country back to the old normal where we need to be. Thank you.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Okay, we've been talking about this now for 2 weeks, about showing this next film.
Right. This is the film of South Jackson Goes Country, and of course we close the show as we do every year
with Lean on Me.
Lean on Me, but the song right before that, all 3 days, was the song that was written in a songwriter's session done at South Jackson Civic Center, and the name of it is Home Small Town Calling.
Small Town Calling. I
And-
wanted to mention all the writers, but
Well-
I can't remember everybody's name.
Well, there was
Marilyn Harris, Samantha Waters,
Randy Fincham,
Wayne Metcalf,
Melissa Sharan.
and there's another guy, and he was a wonderful man and a good writer, and he wasn't on stage.
Right.
But I can't remember his name.
But
Forgive me.
the production of this is just outstanding, and this is, you'll see after you see this, you'll see why I would like to see this adopted as the town song of Tullahoma, and I would like to see it on the website, because this shows people looking at our town what you and your children have the advantage of taking advantage of in Tullahoma, and coming to this town where you have a South Jackson Civic Center, a Tullahoma Fine Arts Center,
And
a Tullahoma
Hands-on Science Center.
Hands-on Science Center. So we're going to play it for you right now. Hometown Calling, Small Town Calling. Several months ago, or weeks ago, there was a songwriters session. It went on, and it was on a Saturday, where people who wanted to find out what songwriting was about could come to South Jackson. And Randy Fincham, who's one of our writers, and one of the writers he writes, he's done exceptionally well in that industry, and has this radio show of his own, and works on the mountain, and does all kinds of stuff, led this session, and out of this session came a song that you are not going to believe. There were several people wrote on it. Some of the writers will be here tonight on stage. I think there were a couple who couldn't be here. This is a song that, in my opinion, should be adopted by the city of Tullahoma to be the official song of Tullahoma, Tennessee. Welcome the talented people who wrote it to perform it, the South Jackson Civic Center songwriters.
Just close your eyes and smell that honeysuckle breeze.
It's the kind of place when people come, they never want to leave.
It's a dinner bell ringing, front porch swinging, swimming in the creek.
A friendly wave, a smiling face, and sipping on sweet tea. I can hear my hometown calling out to me. When nothing says small town like a train whistle blowing. Ooh, all the traffic from a tractor slowing down the high-speed lane. Someone nights under the lights, football games on Friday nights. With your best friend from kindergarten, laughing it up, sitting in the stands, watching as your kids try to win that game. Oh, that's the sound of a small town calling.
Between Daniels and Dickel, my mama raised me.
Learn my wrong from my right, with a switch from a willow tree.
It's a church bells ringing, choir singing, Sundays on my knees.
Now every day I'll stop and pray, thank God for Tennessee, where nothing sells, small town like a train whistle blowing. Ooh, all the traffic from a tractor slowing down a high-speed lane. Softball nights under the lights, football games on Friday night. With your best friend from kindergarten, lighting it up, sitting in the stands, watching as your kids try to win that game. Oh, that's the sound of a small town calling.
Put your hands in there.
You can't wash it out of my clothes. You can't wring it out of my jeans. Country in my soul. That's what I mean. You can't wash it out of my clothes. You can't wring it out of my jeans. Country in my soul. And you know what I mean. Tullahoma, Tennessee, nothing less. Small town like a train whistle blowing. Ooh, all the traffic from a tractor slowing down the high-speed lane. Softball nights under the lights, football games on Friday night. With your best friend from kindergarten, lighting it up, sitting in the stands, watching as your kids try to win that game.
Just close your eyes and
Feel that
honeysuckle breeze.
It's the kind of place when people come, they never want to leave.
The South Jackson Songwriters!
Clayton's has been Tullahoma's shoe store for over 120 years, and Florence Hall continues that tradition today. We're the only shoe store in town that starts with measuring your foot to make sure you get the perfect fit in a quality shoe. That includes narrow through wide widths for men, women, and children. Clayton Shoes, the family shoe store you'll love.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton Shoe Store. We're gonna fit your style.
My husband was diagnosed with a spinal infection. He lost his ability to swallow and the movement of his legs.
I couldn't turn over in bed, I couldn't walk, I couldn't eat.
They were just wonderful in the treatment and care they gave my husband.
I regained my mobility where I was able to go home.
It is miraculous.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Hello everyone, I'm John Rickman, and this is Pat Welch. John and we are here today for segment number 80 of the Conversations with John and Pat.
You're going to talk about Tennessee football a little bit.
A little bit about Tennessee football, a little bit about Tullahoma football.
Do you know that this was Tennessee's state song, and still is, but then one came along called Rocky Top, which you might say outdid it a little bit. But this was...
Well, this we're going to have a little segue today then.
I was dancing with my darling to the Tennessee waltz when an old friend I happened to see introduced him to my loved one, and while they were dancing, my friend stole my sweetheart from me. I remember the night and the Tennessee waltz, only I know how much I have lost. For I lost my little darling the night they were playing the beautiful Tennessee waltz.
Yeah, that was magnificent again, and it's that is well known right there now.
It wasn't perfect, but is about as good as I can do at the moment.
Well, which is big, close to perfection.
Yeah, thank you, Pat.
That's correct. All right, John. Last week we talked about some things that took place in football-wise in 1952, and Tom Brixey, who was from Tullahoma, he was coaching at Sparta High School, and the story then evolved from him being at Sparta at the time. But today I thought we'd go back and pick up Tom Brixey and get a little bit more history from him. And he was, I believe, raised somewhere out around Wesley Heights on East Lincoln Extended, which at that time in the 40s and 50s was considered country.
Yeah.
And his older brother, who was about 10 years older than he, was Vernon Cecil Bub, was his nickname, Brixey. And we had a segment
about a year or
so ago where we found out that he was a tremendous player at the high school in the early 30s, had a tragic injury, and was paralyzed of lower extremities and died about 6 years after that. I've realized it has to be this. Tom Brixey has to be his younger brother, because I found the grave with help from the city where Bub and his parents were buried at Maplewood, and the gravestone for his father was listed as Thomas David Sr., and I've seen where Tom Brixey's middle initial was D, so I'm assuming that had to be a son. And if you'll put up that first picture, this is the high school team of 1942, which their record, they played 11 games, and then they played a bowl game, and they won 10 games, tied 1, and lost 1. The first game of the 12, they gave up 13 points and still won. And they never, for the next 11 games, they only gave up 7 points, was the most. And they had, out of that next 11, they had 7 of them were shutouts. So that was a fine football team. And I believe he's number 52, close to the first row. I hope that our TV audience can see him. And when I first saw his picture, his high school picture, I knew it had to be Bub's younger brother, because they looked very similar, though Bub was a little bit leaner and Tom was heavier and was a lineman, where Bub was a back. He coached at, well, let's go back to college. Again, I mentioned last week that I'd been out to see Coach Cooper, W.C. Cooper, and he looked in his program that I'd taken from the Alabama-Tennessee game in 1948, and when he looked through the roster, he was reminiscing a lot of different players, and he mentioned that Tom was from Tullahoma. But Coach Cooper, he's pictures in that program about 4 or 5 places, but Tom had a write-up and a picture too. Can you put up picture number 2 there? That's Tom Brixey there, and that's in 48. That first picture we showed was in 42, so you can see in 6 years he has matured for sure. And if you could see the write-up, it says that he was like many of the players at Tennessee that year, and also at Alabama that they were playing that day. About 2/3 of them were veterans, and Tom had gone into the Navy right after high school, it looks like, and then transferred to UT to play football. He then went to start coaching and finished, as we said last week, he coached in Sparta for a while, and he ended up going to Kingsport, that was presently Dobyns-Bennett High School, which is a real rich history. And he would have coached at the same time that Coach Cooper was in Tullahoma. At Dobyns-Bennett had a real good record in the 60s, and I could be corrected, but I believe in either 63 or 64, Coach Cooper opened up with Chattanooga Central, who was the preseason first-ranked team in the state, supposed to be a really good team, and Tullahoma blocked 2 punts to beat them, and that was the day of the 16mm films. He sent a film of that to Tom Brixey to Kingsport before they played Chattanooga Central later in the year. So that I thought was really interesting. And I got a lot of, let's see here. I think one thing, a side note that outdoorsman like you, John, would appreciate. Tom Brixey also, in addition to coaching in Sparta and coaching at Kingsport and playing at UT under General Neyland, he also in 1955 was listed in Sports Illustrated. They had a fishing report section and he had caught a 6.5-pound smallmouth, which is a big smallmouth out at Center Hill, and that was listed. Tom Bixby, the coach. And
winner all the way.
All the way. And I guess the last part to wrap it up today, when I was researching, I got in some media guides at UT, and they in the back of them list every letterman that's ever been at UT, football player, in alphabetical order, and then they have a listing of lettermen from different communities of Tennessee, every single one of them. In Tullahoma, it was really interesting. They have 5, which is a lot more lettermen than most of the towns surrounding us. The first one was M.R. Campbell, which I'm assuming was part of the Campbell and Dan, that family, and he lettered in 1896 and 1899. I don't know what happened in 97 and 98, but he lettered twice. The second one was Malcolm Anderson, and I don't know if he was related to, there was an Olney Anderson that was one of the early mayors in town. He lettered in 1932, 33, and 34. And then Tom Bixby lettered in 48, from that year that we had the program, and also 49. And the fourth one was Dick Ellis, who lettered on Doug Dickey's Gator Bowl team of 1967, and we've got picture number 3, Philip. And Dick Ellis on the left standing in a running position. He was a big back and was a linebacker at UT, and I can't go any further TV land without noting that on the back of that article had second and third teams, and the third teamer was our friend Dan Wagner, was listed as all mid-state, third team. And the honorable mention, there was a gentleman named Rickman from Chapel Hill, which he was an outstanding football player.
Cheryl from Tullahoma, and
it was really interesting looking at that. And our last, he lettered in 1967. Again, that was the Gator Bowl, and I believe the management may correct me, but I believe that team beat Syracuse in the Gator Bowl, and they had. I believe there was Syracuse had a back named Little that was ended up being maybe in the Hall of Fame NFL for Denver. The last letterman from Tullahoma is Jim Duval. That'd be picture number 4, Philip. He is number 54 there in the basketball uniform. He was a class behind me.
He doesn't look imposing there, but Jim Duval was a big guy.
He was a big man.
Big guy.
Yeah, he was probably 6'2" and 215, which was a big guy in the early 70s. We don't have a football picture for him because I got my senior annual out, and Jimmy transferred to Tullahoma, he and his family, that year, and he got to school just a little bit after picture day. So we've got a picture from
Mr. Duval went to our church, and the boys did too. There was a Bob Duval.
Bob Duval was the oldest, and then David, who coached at the high school and was a little All-American at MTSU. He played high school ball at Crossville, and they had a great team. He played with Kurt Watson, who was a UT back in the 60s.
Somebody ought to do a study about what those boys ate, because they one of them
they were really good athletes too. They're all big boned. Mr. Duval was big boned man. Yeah.
All right.
That probably wraps up segment 80. But John, we're not done. We've got more.
We're proud of Tullahoma.
We're proud of Tullahoma. We're proud of UT, and y'all come back and see us. Thank y'all.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the paint. I just knocked a tree over. This is the paint doctor. I got the color wheel. Now, you know what a color wheel is? It is the wheel that the paint works, where you pick all your colors to paint your room. It could be a multicolored beard. It could be a underarm fan? You never can tell. One thing we do know is that it's time to paint. You know, you can make your wife very happy if you go to your house and paint some rooms, or you paint the outside of the house, the inside of the house. It makes them feel very good because you work hard for them and they like that. All women like to see their man sweat, you know? They do. Honeydew is what they do. And you get to do it too. So you go to the Paintworks at 1960 North Washington Street and you see David Heikkinen over there, and he's the real paint doctor. He fix you up with color. It's so nice when the color is right. Go to Paintworks today. Martin Senor. See? Martin Senor. Right there. Martin Senor at the Paintworks. Bye, and we see you next time. I'm burning up.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
You know, Peggy, with the pandemic, we had to go in a lot of virtual to where kids they would go to school like maybe on Monday.
Right.
And be with their teacher. Now, this is upper grades. The lower grades, I don't remember exactly how that works. The upper grades, you go to school and you get your assignments from your teacher. Then the rest of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're there for an hour or two in the morning. Then you've got until Friday to do all your work done, and you can go online and do that. Well, what they've done now is they've opened a completely different. It's part of the school system, but it's a completely different school. And it's a complete virtual school, virtual academy. And as Jimmy Fuller said at the beginning of the show, his son-in-law, Dr. Greg English, is running that, and we're one of the few.
And it's
on the cutting edge, Tullahoma on the cutting edge.
It's right on the attached to South Jackson Civic Center, basically.
Right, it's in the old West Junior High.
West Junior High. I used to teach there.
Did you?
A day ago. Yes, I did.
Maybe two.
Maybe two.
So
we have a
they had
film
a grand opening of that last week, and of course Jim Fuller was there, and family, and we're going to go and take a watch at that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking today with Dr. Greg English, who is the director of the new Tullahoma Virtual Academy. Greg, this has got to be a big day for you guys.
It's a big day. It truly is.
A lot of people probably don't really understand what a virtual academy is, but it's the coming and happening thing apparently in education these days. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, of course, virtual learning isn't new. It's been around for a long time. Mm-hmm. There have been virtual schools in Tennessee for at least the last decade, which is I was kind of surprised when I found that out.
Right.
Of course, then COVID, the pandemic, and we were forced to go home. We were forced to do some virtual, and I think for most school systems it expanded our envelope of what we knew we were capable of doing. We also discovered that there were
certain students that this worked really well for. When we first went home in March, what we realized was those students that sometimes might be the ones with their head down on the desk, sleeping at 8 a.m., well, when they were at home and could engage on their own schedule, they were logging in at 8 o'clock at night. They were doing work. They were submitting work. Sometimes early in the morning, but they were doing it. And some of those students actually brought their grades up to passing, which brought our attention to the fact that not every student, we already knew not every student learned the same way, but we also realized students don't all learn at the same time. Everybody's brain is most active at a different time of the day. So that really got me thinking about the need for virtual. Last year, I was the director of virtual learning for the high school. I was in charge of setting all of that up, coordinating the students, approving who could do it and who couldn't do it. And of course, we let just about everybody do it. Which taught me a lot about what not to do. Now, everything we did last year was synchronous, where we had students, teachers were teaching both ways. They had students in person and they had students at home, and they were Zooming those students that were at home, which was a difficult task for them. It was a compromise. They didn't feel like they were teaching the students at home or the students in the classroom to the best of their ability. So that was synchronous learning. What we're doing here is asynchronous learning. So on your TV, you can watch a movie on demand. You don't have to get out the TV guide. You don't have to say, all right, I want to watch this movie at 10 o'clock today. You can watch it whenever you want. Our classes are on demand. So students can get up at 8 a.m. and start if they want to, if that's when their brain works, or they can wait until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It doesn't matter to us as long as they do it.
This is a really cool idea, because it's not something I don't think we'd have ever thought of in my day.
It helps to have the technology.
Right. And am I correct in assuming then maybe the virtual part of this is not for every student, but there are some students who can adapt to it and work better in that
Exactly. So I was that student. And that's why I'm pretty passionate about what I'm doing here, because I was that student. I wasn't a great student. I was a terrible high school student. I failed freshman algebra. I probably came really close to failing geometry and other classes. I couldn't pay attention. It wasn't that I was probably a little lazy too, but it wasn't that I wasn't smart enough. I was easily distracted, and I was a little bit lazy.
Right.
If I could have hit pause, rewind, replay on my teachers until I got it, until it sunk into my head, I'd have been a lot better off. When I took distance learning classes, online classes for graduate school, it worked really well for me, because I could do it on my own time. I could read the stuff as many times as I needed to. I could watch the stuff as much as I needed to until it sunk in, until I was ready to consume that content.
You said a moment ago that a kid can do this whenever they want to. So in other words, if a kid wants to do his whatever class at 8 o'clock at night, they can do that. Is that?
Yeah.
In this
so we take attendance based on a combination of logins and completion. So you can't just log in every day and that count. If you don't turn into work, you weren't at school.
Right.
And vice versa. If you log in on Monday for 20 minutes and then somehow manage to turn all your work in by Sunday at midnight, you probably cheated.
Okay.
So part of our requirements is that students take at least the midterm and final for each course in person. And of course, teachers can require them to take any significant test in person. And they also have weekly check-ins with their teachers, where the teachers can ask them, what'd you learn from this? What'd you learn from this? Tell me about this. So we make sure they're not just using a search engine to find all the answers.
What does a student have to do to be accepted into this academy?
As we were deciding how to determine, because we set a cap for ourselves in this first year of 50. We were advised by another virtual school, the folks up in Cookeville, the Vidal Academy. They said, start small. Whatever you do, start small, get it right, and then move on. So we set a cap for this year at 50, and we're currently at 49. We talked about a GPA. Do we want to set a minimum GPA? Do we want to, of course, attendance played into it. If a student was absent 30 days next year, we're not we're not doing that.
Right.
Ultimately, we decided that we didn't need the best students, we needed the right students. So we created an application which required them to fill out quite a bit of information about themselves, assuring that they had internet access, assuring they had a good place to work at home, that they had support at home, that they had a parent that was going to serve as their home coach.
Right.
And then we had an interview with every student that was going to be a full-time or a flex student, which I'll talk about in a minute. They had to interview with me. And we talked about motivation and talked about why they wanted to be a virtual student. In general, if it was just a convenience factor, we didn't consider that as a good reason.
Right.
It was more about learning style. I did this last year, and I learned a lot better this way. Or I have crippling anxiety, or I get in fights. I don't trust myself around people because I can't avoid the drama. And so, we have a whole mixture of. We have an elite cyclist who trains 6 to 8 hours a day and needs a flexible schedule so that he can do that. He also travels the country competing, and so this works really well for him.
Can you actually mix the virtual academy stuff?
Great question.
With the going to class?
Yeah, so we have 3 ways a student can engage in virtual learning. They can be full-time, which means every bit of what they consume academically is a virtual class, and they can actually take up to 5 a semester. The Flex program is what I think is the best thing we offer. I call it the Burger King approach because you can have it your way. Basically, you decide. Do you want to take 3 classes virtual and 1 in person? Do you want to take 1 virtual and 3 in person? You decide. Now, there are some classes we don't offer. We don't offer virtual cosmetology. You kind of, if you haven't stood behind the chair, you're not cutting my hair. Welding, things like that. We may look in the future at doing a hybrid where students do classwork and then go to school for lab sessions, like we're doing for chemistry, actually. But anyway, those students can take, full-time students can take all of their stuff. The flex students, whatever they decide, whatever they come up with, as long as we offer it, they can do any mixture of in-person and online. The only thing that matters is if it matters to them where they're enrolled. If they take the majority of their classes through TVA, they have to enroll. They're no longer a Tullahoma High School student. They're a Tullahoma Virtual Academy student. If they take the majority of their classes at Tullahoma High School, they're still at Tullahoma High School.
Well, obviously, then, if they're able to access these classes anytime that they choose, you're obviously having to produce the classes. And are you doing that here in this academy?
We currently have 20 teachers working for us on an adjunct basis. 18 of those teachers are Tullahoma High School teachers. So they're doing all of their teaching at Tullahoma High School, and then I'm giving them a stipend to create our courses. We had a lot of options for what we could put out as far as our content. It was important to myself and Dr. Stevens that we not just put a canned product out there, that it not just be something that we bought. We wanted it to be something worthy of the Tullahoma brand, and so we got our Tullahoma teachers to build these. And so we've got a great team. We have 1 retired teacher, recently retired from Tullahoma High School, and we have 1 teacher in Oklahoma City, Dr. Sherry Zimmerman. She left us this past year, moved to Oklahoma City to be with her family, is teaching Spanish out there, and so she's teaching Spanish for me.
Are there ever any occasions where the students will actually be in this physical facility?
Yes. Like I said, they're required to take their midterm and final in person. Teachers can send me a test and say, they can send me a test and say, I need for little Johnny to come take this test sometime this week. And then that student has to get with me, set up a time to come in and take their test. I proctor it, I watch to make sure no cheating's taking place. Students also come in as they wish to our cafe. If home's loud, or if they just want to get away, if they want to interact with other students, because just because virtual learning works well for them doesn't necessarily mean they're a recluse. They still want social interaction. They still want to talk to people, and so we have our regulars that come in every day. They're here in the morning. They go to the high school for a class, and they come back. We have students that will just come here for an hour. And we hope that more and more of them will take advantage of it as they realize it's a pretty cool thing.
You mentioned you had 50 students who are a part of the program, or 49 students who are part of the program right now. Is it your intent that this program, this academy, will grow throughout the years?
Absolutely. So this year we set it at just 50. We fully intend for it to grow again next year, and there is a plan to extend it down to lower grades in the future. Of course, again, we're starting small. We want to make sure we get this right first and then explore the other options.
You also mentioned that you flunked algebra as a freshman. Did you ever think at that point that you might be doing something like you're doing today?
No, not a clue.
Okay. Well,
but again, if I could have taken freshman algebra virtually, I might have had a chance.
Yeah, okay. Well, fortunately, other students that are coming up today will have that chance.
That's right.
Thanks to the innovation of the Tullahoma City school system and Dr. Greg English. And congratulations on this. And I think you're now going to kind of show us the facility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Now, the space we're standing in for the past almost 20 years has been the home to Coffee County Adult Education.
Right.
And it was a great partnership, and they did great things here. But this was we needed the space, and so unfortunately we had to part ways. But so this is our office space. I actually share this with Mike Young, our career and graduation coach. He was somebody I was able to hire with the grant that we were awarded from the state for innovative high school models. This is our conference room. So we have a grant advisory committee that will meet here. We have a student advisory team that they actually meet in there, but if we need to meet in here, we can. And of course, as we're interviewing new students for next year, we'll want to utilize that space. This is our video production studio. This is where our teachers can come anytime. Now, right now, we're only here from 8 to 3:30, 8 to 4. But we're getting an access control system put in. Students will have their student ID, and they can hold it up to the control unit, and it'll give them access. Now they can access anytime between 8 and 3:30 to come to the cafe. That way, right now they have to call our phone, we answer and go let them in. In the future, they'll be able to just come and go as they please. That'll be scheduled though, so they can't come anytime. Teachers can come anytime once that's installed, and they'll be able to come in here and create their content. Of course, we have Michael Holliday. He's our video production studio manager. Another person I was able to hire with our grant, and right now he is doing a great job of helping our teachers create their first content. As they're figuring out how to use some of the software, some of the tools we have, it's a little bit of a learning curve. So he's doing a lot of training right now, a lot of hand holding. As we move forward, he'll shift more to just editing and creating content for the academy.
Being in the television business, I bet Mike has a big job right now because
he's a busy man.
Yeah, because it's going to take a little bit to teach everybody how to operate this.
Exactly.
Is that correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's doing a great job for us. He put together the studio for us. He ordered all the equipment, told us what was going to work best for us, and put it all together yesterday.
Outstanding. Yesterday. Okay.
So we started work on fixing up the cafe. I want to say it was in late June. Maintenance came in, painted for us. We got new floors. Started kind of designing what we wanted it to look like. Of course, Dr. Stevens had the initial plan of, she thought it'd be great to have a space that there was a coffee shop,
right?
Or had that coffee shop vibe. I was like, I can do that all day long. And so we started designing this, what we wanted. Mike Young and I built the window counters over there. Great space for a kid to sit with their laptop and do their work. Of course, on the other side of that wall, we don't have it yet, but that's where our virtual reality stations will go, which, again, not just for playing games, there's actually a curriculum. Students will learn how to design their own virtual environments. They can use that to build games. They can use that to actually get paid by companies, by businesses, to design training modules. That's a kind of an in-demand thing right now.
So you actually have students who come to this room.
Oh yeah, there's some of them that's pretty ticked off right now because they came to hang out and their space was full of people.
I see. Okay.
So they left, but they'll be back later in the afternoon.
Right.
Yeah, they come every day.
Folks, this is what school has come to, and it's exciting.
Yep.
An exciting thing, I have to say.
It is.
All right.
What does caring look like? This is what caring looks like.
This is setting an example for others.
This is rising to the challenge.
This is doing what works.
This is doing my part.
This is doing your part.
Each of us individually.
Acting as one. Keeping your distance, no matter how awkward it may seem.
This is wearing a mask.
Over your nose and mouth.
Like we are.
Keeping our distance.
Each wearing masks.
Not under your chin.
Not above your head.
Not in your hand.
But over your nose and mouth.
This is listening to the expert. If you'll just
wear one of these.
Caring makes community.
And this is what caring looks like.
Until COVID-19 is no longer a threat. Until COVID-19 is no longer a threat.
Until COVID-19 is no longer a threat.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
The food at Parkview, well, I haven't had a bad meal there yet.
The food at Parkview is absolutely scrumptious. I mean, it is really good. It's just like home cooking.
And then there are the cookies. Oh my, they bake cookies every day, and they are super.
The food is truly incredible, and it's like being on a cruise ship.
How long has it been since you raced a cheetah? Are your tornado creating skills getting rusty? Tired of being the only one in your neighborhood who hasn't built a dinosaur? Sounds like it's time to visit the Hands-On Science Center. The Hands-On Science Center is an indoor science playground. In this museum, please touch is the rule. Join us for weekly science demonstrations on space, lasers, lizards, rocks, and a whole lot more. No two visits are ever the same, so visit often to see our ever-changing exhibits and demonstrations. The Hands-On Science Center, 101 Mitchell Boulevard in Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, we're back, and we're going to bring you one more thing right now from South Jackson Goes Country.
Mr. Ben Hips.
Yes, and this
That's a name to remember.
Yes, this young man has been around for quite some time, and he's very different. He's very good. I think he's very, very good.
And he is one of our best songwriters.
Brighter young men.
Yes.
He certainly is. So this is Ben Hips
original
on Songwriter Night. Ben Hips, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're doing well. This song was written by a band called the Vending Machine Bandits called Gone With No Trace. I hope you guys enjoy. As the legend goes, no one really knows of the rider who left the town ablaze. He rode for many miles, survived all the trials. They say he's still running wild these days. I've heard them say he lives for the pay, and some say that's how he died. Born on the run with a hand on his gun, so you can't say he never tried. People would see him with a mask on his face, riding away to the winds he would chase. Horses are running at their own pace. He's lost within times, gone with no trace. Lust for his greed is always in need. His eyes turning diamonds and gold. Stories involved, questions unsolved, but all minds know of his shame. And scars that will last, born from the past. Everyone knows who's to blame. People would see him with a mask on his face, riding away to the winds he would chase. Horses all running at their own pace. He's lost within times, gone with no trace. The dirt-covered bed, brass to the head. The water will never be clear. Only time will let the memories forget of the man who once was here. All people would see him with a mask on his face, riding away to the winds he would chase. Horses all running at their own pace. He's lost within times, gone with no trace. Thank y'all.
Ben Hatch, great song, Ben.
Partners for Healing provides medical care to the working uninsured of Coffee, Franklin, and Moore counties. We are in Tullahoma from 8 to 5, Monday through Thursdays, and in Manchester on Fridays from 8 to 12. We provide primary medical care and offer an in-house disease management program.
My name is Rosie Mitchell, and I would just like to say I am blessed to have partners in my life.
Please call 455-5014 for more information. Thank you for being one of our Partners for Healing.
Hello, this is Janie Price. When my husband Ray Price would tour across the country, his favorite place to dine was Cracker Barrel Old Country Store locations. His favorite thing to order was the Uncle Herschel.
And the beauty of it all is forever, you'll be holding me to.
I miss Ray dearly, and I'm so proud that his last album, Beauty Is, The Final Session, is available at his favorite restaurant.
A love affair.
The project includes a duet with Martina McBride and harmony vocals from Vince Gill. Ray believed this to be the best recording he had ever made.
Oh, I wish I was 18 again.
I think you'll agree when you pick up your copy of Beauty Is, The Final Sessions at a Cracker Barrel Old Country Store location near you or at crackerbarrel.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thought for the day out of my 3rd edition book of Loku. I didn't get the big promotion. I can't believe she picked him and not me. After the blood dries, I will live to find better and give thanks for being passed over. Never know what being passed over, what door it might open up for you. Don't run from change, run to change. Keeps you young. And what we're going to do now is talk about, give me a bigger shot here. Let me show this thing, or I'll hold it up right here. How about that? John Olive 5th quarter show. Tullahoma Wildcats start playing football this Thursday night against Shelbyville in Shelbyville. The boys, we have a lot of the boys back off the undefeated team from last year. It's going to be, let's say we played scrimmage against McMinnville, Warren County, and also against Franklin County. The score, Tullahoma 80, the rest of them 5. Pretty good. So go to the ball game. If you can't go to the ball game, tune in the John Olive 5th quarter show live on Saturday morning. Replay will be on Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon. With that said, thank you for being with us today. You be safe out there, and we'll see you next time.